Welcome to Email and Beyond, the podcast bringing you all the latest email marketing and other complementary marketing channel tips, tricks, industry chat, brand insights, and more every 2 weeks. Join me, Kate Barrett, founder and CEO of eFocus Marketing, and Richard Wall, marketing campaign manager at Spotler, as we talk you through the good, the bad, and the ugly of marketing and how you can create a more intelligent strategy that gets results. Welcome to another episode of Email and Beyond. I'm Kate Barrett, founder and CEO of eFocus Marketing.
And I'm Richard Wall, marketing campaign manager for SpotlerUK.
And we're here today in this episode to talk about a really important part of segmentation and something that some companies are using, but a lot of companies aren't taking advantage of. And that is RFM analysis. Now, don't worry, if you're B2B, if you're marketing B2B and you're watching this episode or listening to this episode, we're going to talk about a B2B equivalent called lead scoring. So we're going to come back to that in a minute. Okay. But let's start with the classic RFM segmentation. So Richard, what does RFM stand for?
That is a good question. It's one of those, we love an acronym, don't we? It's one of those that actually kind of stands on its own. I've met a few acronyms that could be a few different things depending on who you ask. But recency, frequency, monetary value. And it's not how good are your customers, that's a very horrible way to talk about them, but it's how engaged are they. It's exactly what it says on the tin. Yeah, are they buying weekly, monthly, yearly? Have they bought in the last 6 months, in the last quarter, in the last month? And how much have they spent? Are they buying your basic entry level stuff? Are they buying the highest possible quality thing or highest priced thing that you sell? And how do you combine those? Because my immediate thought is, if I'm buying, for example, 40 quid pair of shoes, I wouldn't expect to be replacing them more than every couple of years. Whereas if I'm buying a 10 quid pair of trainers because I've agreed to go on a jog with some friends for the first time in 6 years, I'll probably need to buy some trainers again in less than a year. So it's not a case of buying more often is more value. That's why the three go together. I think because there's that interlocking relationship. I suppose that people who are buying a premium good very frequently are going to have a different use case or a different setup than someone who's buying your best pair of shoes once every 5 years because they just like the brand.
Yeah. So with that, you've got, so just to recap, how recently someone purchased, how frequently they purchase from you overall, and then how much money they spend with you, that monetary value. And effectively what happens with RFM is that each of those values is given a score. Those scores are then combined and added up. And what's fantastic about it is, again, you can adapt this and where those levels are for your company and what it comes out as, but you create segments of your audience based on that purchase data, from people who've never done anything with you before to your VIPs who spend a lot of money with you, buy from you frequently, and last bought from you very recently. What that's doing is giving you a direct connection into what they've done before, what they've put their money down on previously, and how you can adjust that. So, for example, if you have your VIPs, you may not want to retarget them with a general email campaign or with social media posts. You might want to exclude your VIPs from that and send them something specific around loyalty, for example. So it really allows you to break down and understand. And I think one of the things that I always talk about is when it comes to data, there are 3 ways that you can get it. You can ask for it, you can track it, or you can analyze it. And RFM falls into that analyze part because you're using multiple pieces of data to give you a view of these groups of people that you can then look at how you engage them. You could use predictive RFM to understand the likelihood of them moving up or down within that segmentation strategy. It gives you that whole world rather than just guessing. We think this is what they want. Well, it tells you this is their behavior of what they've done before. And of course, you can layer that on with personalization around product suggestions and all of those types of things. So it is, for me, fundamentally the baseline way of breaking down that purchase data. And there are a lot of platforms that have it built in nowadays. Spotler is
Yes.
one of them, and you have it built into, I think, a couple of different areas of your suites that you can get to RFM. For me, where you can make it even more valuable is when you turn it into eRFM. So
Okay.
not only are we looking at the purchase part, but we're now adding in engagement. So we're now adding in, are they a VIP and they're engaging on our website or with our emails? Or are they a VIP and they're not engaging? So it allows us to now get even more granular and analyze the concept of those pieces of data together to give a much better view of what's going on with the customers, how we can target it with dynamic content, individual campaigns, could be automated journeys to help people move up that scale towards a VIP. I'm just thinking of an example we did with a client in the last kind of 6 months or so. And when we looked at the RFM analysis that was in their platform, so it had been plugged in, all this data was feeding in, and it had created these segments, these groups. Now, what we found looking at that was that there was a massive segment of people who had never bought from them before. So the first thing it allowed us to do was say, firstly, is the data feeding in correctly? Is this actually true? So it allowed us to do a little bit of digging into that quality of the data that was coming through, which was helpful. And then it allowed us to say, whoa, okay, there is a major targeting opportunity here of people who've never bought from us before. So I've got a 0 on all of those levels. From an acquisition objective of getting new customers in, we've got a massive pot of data here that we can look at. And then kind of going up the scale from there, you know, bought infrequently a while ago, didn't spend that much, all the way up to VIPs. Now, I pause there because one of the things about segmentation, if you're B2C, that I think too few people take into account is Christmas. Because RFM segmentation, you're bringing in all of your data about purchases, right? Well, when does purchase behavior change? During the holiday season. So October to December, the way that people buy is very different. They're not only buying for themselves, but in a bulk element, they're buying for multiple other people, whether it's, you know, just 1 or 2 people, or whether it's 100 people that they've got to buy for. So buying behavior changes. So although I love RFM and I love eRFM even more, I think that when we're looking at segmentation, we need to not just take these things on face value, because behavior changes. And for me, you almost need a Christmas RFM segmentation and a rest of year RFM segmentation. I mean, what do you think about that? What's your thoughts on RFM?
My initial question was, how do you account for and eRFM, especially because, you know, we're recording this beginning of October, and I've got one child's birthday at the beginning of December, then Christmas, and then my wife's birthday, our anniversary, the second child's birthday.
You packed it in, didn't
you?
So
I've got 4 months of no money at all, and then the rest of the year I can save up for it. But my point is, especially on the eRFM, is I'm now browsing, bookmarking, saving, flagging, favoriting, however you think of it. And I was like, oh, she'd like that. Oh, he'd like this one. She'd like that. And that will then there'll be a period about, you know, the end of November where I suddenly go, right, buy that, buy that, buy that, buy that. So the engagement will kind of spike now, and then. So I guess for
you with your bulk,
and then it'll sort of tail a bit, because having like Jed engaged, I'll see a bit more from those people, but they'll just be like, oh yeah, sure, cool, keep scrolling, and then it jumps back up. So I think adding the E on there is that, you know, aside from the quest to get rid of too many acronyms, adding the E to RFM is it's really helpful for that, especially for this, like you say, sort of bulk purchasing season.
But thinking about what you said, so if let's get really advanced with this, right? So if we did analysis on that data we would be able to see patterns potentially in that data of when we've seen that spike. So we can see, are they engaging all throughout the year? Are there periods of inactivity for people? So particularly for Christmas, we'll see people come back and just buy for that holiday period.
Yeah.
What type of things are they buying for? You know, it might be that you have a business where you can identify if they're buying makeup. Not that makeup can't be for a man, but you know, if they're buying, say, makeup or a skirt or high heels, it may have a higher propensity towards gifts for a woman versus if they're buying ties or cufflinks. I mean, I'm getting very generic there, right? But you know, you get what I mean, everyone. Yeah. I think doing that analysis, if you have data analyst teams or if you have data analyst companies that you work with, that for me is where e-commerce gets really interesting. And I think we can, AI, I think is going to help with this a lot. It'd be interesting to see how the predictive elements deal with that, because I just think for e-commerce, and don't worry B2B, we will get to you in a minute. I think for e-commerce, it is so critical that holiday period. Why don't we change what we do more?
But then,
because normal segmentation doesn't work during Christmas.
Email and Beyond is a Spotler and eFocus marketing production. Spotler is the all-in-one sales and marketing software for small and medium-sized businesses. Our suite of products covers email marketing, website personalization and tracking, social media management, and CRM. If you want to find out more about how our software can drive your success, visit spotler.co.uk/email and beyond.
But the problem, I think, if you try and separate your Christmas out from the rest of your holiday period from the rest of the year, is that knock-on effect. So say you started a company in September that sells floral dresses. And I come across your Instagram and think, oh, my wife would love that. That's right up her street. That's the kind of pattern color that she likes. So I buy her one for Christmas. She loves it. So from then on, every couple of months, so I come back for her birthday, I come back for our anniversary. And without that sort of holiday season push, I wouldn't have discovered the brand, and it's then going to feed into so I get what you're saying, that the behavior is different, but you need to it needs to be distinct but not separate. What
you've just said is exactly it. So what we need to do at Christmas is surface ideas for products that people wouldn't necessarily have looked at previously. Right? So because you're not just buying for yourself. So let's say if you've bought something in March, April, May, June, those things, I mean, they may have been as gifts and we don't know. And one customer, I said to them, because they were very gift related, I said to them, well, during the holiday period, put a tick box in the checkout process, check it isn't detrimental to that, but put a tick box there to say, is this for a gift? You've got to get that information somehow to identify, are they buying a gift or not? So you can ask for it in that way. You can track and then analyze that behavior of when are they coming back? Are you always seeing them? Do they always make a purchase in May, for example? You know, you could assume certain information from that, but Christmas is very much, I think, about if you've got purchased and behavioral data from what they've done in previous years, use that, because it might be that they only go up to a certain price point, but then your strategy is, okay, so anyone who's bought during Christmas that has bought up to £50, our aim is to try and get them to spend 10% more. So you can use that for objectives as well, but it's also surfacing those things that they don't know about, and those ideas and that inspiration, gift guides. We see a lot of gift guides and things like that. But also think about, so again, if you are a company and you're e-commerce and holiday period and you have things that people could be gifting, why not create a gift list or a wish list, or, build your calendar and tell us when the important dates are, so we can remind you and help you, or, I think with data, you can ask for it, you can track it, or you can analyze it. You've got to think through each of those to give you a full picture. But by delving down and segmenting out Christmas, and holiday season, it's going to take out that skew. And I think sometimes this is what concerns me about RFM. How much is it skewed by holiday season purchases? Because it's taking the overall, isn't it?
So can you build that into the model? Say if this activity occurs in X month. I mean, actually, I know how RFM works and seeing the results, but actually how you build the models is not part of what I do at Spotler. So.
I think you'd have to speak to your provider. So if you're with Spotler, speak to Spotler. I don't know how you can adjust it with the kind of set programs that are there to surface that. But I was talking to someone yesterday actually from your Activate platform,
Nice. Okay.
and we were looking at RFM within that platform. And again, I was talking to him about Christmas segmentation, holiday segmentation, and we were looking at building it as those segments. So it's almost, it might be that you need to move away from RFM in its basic form for the holiday period, move away from the standard model and just build out those segments. Now, RFM is basically a piece of the platform that's creating the segments for you. That's all it's doing, is taking your data that you're feeding in and creating a segment that you can send to. So if you create those segments yourself, for VIP, for loyal, for never purchased, whatever they are, you could then do that within those timeframes and create your own RFM model through segmentation, because that's all it is, of non-holiday period, holiday period, and maybe a combination of both. So you can then see where the overlaps are in people, analyze that data. But I think the key thing here is that RFM, however you use it, the good, the bad, and the ugly of all of these things that we do, right? It gives you another way to break down, slice, and look at that data in a really important way. Pause. Break, pause.
This is the thing now. And then so post break, we're doing the lead scoring bit. We've done RFM.
So yeah, so if I now come in and say, so if we think about this now from a B2B point of view, so if I lead with that. Right. So if we look at this now from a B2B point of view, if we want to slice and cut that data, the difference between B2B and B2C is longer sales cycles. It might not be a physical product that you're selling. It might be a service or a platform or whatever it might be. So we've just got to look at it in a slightly different way. Now, I say to a lot of my B2B clients, actually, you can take RFM, scratch it around a bit, and use that for B2B. So for example, let's say if you didn't have purchase data. Now, if you have purchase data, even if you're B2B, you can still use RFM. You just plug it in, right?
Yeah.
But you could change it. So let's say if your conversion is event signups. If it's not a purchase, if it's event signups, you could say, okay, well, how recently did someone last sign up for an event? How frequently do they sign up for events? And then you'd need to change the monetary value. Maybe
sort of conversion speed afterwards.
Yeah.
Or trial.
Anything. You just got to feed in the data. Again, RFM is just segmentation. It's just that a lot of platforms have now built it to do it automatically for you so that you don't have to build the segments. But what's even more interesting from a B2B side is the lead scoring opportunity. So do you want to kind of give the audience just a basic rundown of what lead scoring is in that B2B sense?
Yeah, lead scoring is just how you map website interaction into a more detailed part of the funnel, the cycle, however you refer to it. So someone landing on your homepage, that could be almost anything. That could
be low in the funnel. It's the beginning stage. It's that kind of bringing everyone in, isn't it? So we've got to think about it in terms of driving to the conversion. So if we're at the top with someone's visited your homepage, they haven't given a specific intent or taken an action. They're at that first point, right?
Exactly. And if they land on the Activate demo page or the Mail Plus demo page, they're serious thinking about engaging. They're into decision making by that or consideration, certainly. And then the way we think about it, you might have a slightly different model, but the way it works for us is the blogs, we give on a lead scoring model, we say that 20 points in a week or 50 points in a month is decent enough intent for us to say to sales, hang on, take a closer look at this person. So our homepage would be 1 point because we want to know they visited, but as you said, it's so high level, and there's enough elements of the platform that doesn't give us an indication. Pricing page, product demo page is 25. Like we're straight on it, because that's a pretty high intent level, even without the form. So filling in a demo form obviously is complete conversion. Getting onto the demo page and lingering there a bit, even if you don't fill out the form, you're obviously thinking about it. You might have, I'm terrible at doing this, of thinking, oh yeah, I'll keep this tab open and I'll come back to it 6 weeks later and go, oh yeah, I was thinking about that. But at the time I was thinking about it, so a little sales nudge would probably help me.
Yeah.
And then if you're reading a blog, we give those 5 points because you're exploring the topic. Get down into
every action somebody takes, whether it's with your website, with email, with anything else you've got your data plugged in from, every action gets a certain amount of points. The closer to the point of conversion, the higher the number of points.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's the 30-second version of what's going to take me about 7 minutes to explain, because I
just wanted to just clarify for people, because I think, and then so your examples that you were saying was, so homepage, that's top of funnel, that might be 1 point. If they've had a look at your demo page, that might be 20 points, because it's that point of conversion, it's almost there. The higher number of points someone gets in a week or a month or whatever your time period is, the hotter the lead they are. And then you would then create segmentation from that, automated journeys, not just based on individual actions, but the combined of those points. And then I guess at the hottest point of that, would you then pass them to the sales team to drop them an email, give them a call and say, hey, noticed that you were interested in this. Is there anything I can help you with? Is that how it works in terms of process?
Exactly how. So we call them sales pots for one about, and because as we said, the Spotler umbrella covers so many different platforms and people need different levels of help with different things. You'll tend to, if you're reading 5 or 6 blogs in a week about our CRM, then you start getting emails with CRM white papers or guides in those. Ditto if it's the website personalization platform or social media manager. So we take, so the fact you're on blogs means you're lukewarm probably, but then as you said, there was a parallel process where you're going into, what are you lukewarm about? Are you super interested in CRM and social, kind of, or the other way around? Any combination of those. So we'll push you different, like you say, you'll be in different levels of content with different frequencies, different intensities, I guess, different depths of content that we're going to pitch you based on your topics and your level of interest in those. Because our ideal customer is someone who wants to use every single platform straight away, but that's not how the world works, and a lot of our growth has been through acquisition of these platforms. So when Spotter Activate joined, we've got all these customers that are doing a lot of website personalization but are still managing their socials natively on those platforms. So and then say some of them are really interested in getting their social managed, some of them aren't. They get a little bit of that, and vice versa. Those customers that use social and leads very heavily don't use us for CRM yet, so they'll get, and within those, some will be quite interested in it, some won't even have thought about it. So it is a dual, I suppose, 3D almost. You're plotting them on this direction and this direction.
But that's how you bring it together. And that's how you get that view of how can we help you right now? How do we do it? And again, whether it's lead scoring, whether it's RFM or eRFM or customer personas, or these are kind of those, I'm going to say, like mid-level models that give you the wider groups. And then exactly like you said, it's layering on that next level. It's okay, so we can see that you are a warm lead, a hot lead, by the number of actions that you've taken and where they are in the funnel. We can see that you are a VIP customer because of the number of actions that you've taken, RFM, with those elements. So it's all about just identifying core people in your database and understanding how to talk to them in the right way. And segmentation is all about layering. It's pick one level of a layer, whether it's RFM, lead scoring, whatever it is, personas, then go down from that and layer on engagement, layer on that content and that voice you're taking from it. So I think whatever model you're using, whether you're B2B or B2C, it's thinking about what is the business critical data. What's the core data about your subscribers that you've got in your business that you can use to create these models or your own fantastical segmentation models that you want to run with. So I think for me, in terms of a final thought, it is about understanding your data, what you want to achieve with that segmentation, and then choosing the model or the individual pieces of data that you want to put together in your own model to create that view to better target those emails.
Let's leave it there. That was a beautiful summary.
There we go. Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Email and Beyond, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
If you liked this episode, please follow us on YouTube and subscribe through iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts.